Hey, Botafogo fans. Hey, everyone. Good afternoon to all of you. Welcome to Anderson Mota's channel. Let's talk about Botafogo de Futebol e Regatas. Look, guys. We have a important piece of information for you all and some wonderful news for you all. Okay. The court denied John Textor's request to block the SEF. It authorizes Botafogo Social to join the process as an interested party. Guys, what does that mean? It simply means Botafogo now has a clear path. For GDA Luma to come in, yeah, now the way is clear. Textor's defeat leaves Botafogo with a clear path for GDA to come in. We're going to explain this to you, okay? Man, let's update Luiz Henrique's situation. According to Fala Fonte, there are some updates. We'll share them with you too, all right? We're going to talk about all of this right now here on Anderson Mota's channel. That's how I do it. We're in this together. What's up? There are people who run things, damn it. Thank you so much for the support. Thank you so much for the love. Subscribe to the channel. Help us reach 101,000 subscribers. Leave your like, leave your thumbs up. And through your like, more Botafogo fans get to know the content here on Anderson Mota's channel. I'm already inviting all of you today to our live stream at 6:40 and 6:45 p.m. That's right, 6:40 and 6:45 p.m. Be here, our classic live stream. We're going to talk a lot about Botafogo de Futebol e Regatas. Sounds good? Should we start with Luiz Henrique? Look here. Luiz Henrique, Danilo, Arthur, the journalist details conversations between Botafogo and Zenit. Botafogo and Zenit are still talking about negotiations and debt payments. On the Fala Fonte show on ESPN this Wednesday, the journalist Bruno Andrade explained the situations of Danilo, Luiz Henrique, and Arthur. Regarding Danilo, Zenit made an offer between 30 million euros and 35 million. However, they asked for the deduction of Botafogo's debt, which was 10 million euros. For Arthur, Botafogo only agreed to give a discount of 2 million euros, which didn't interest the Russian club. Also, the midfielder doesn't want to go to that country. In the case of Luiz Henrique, Bruno Andrade emphasized that Botafogo only wants the player if it's a player swap, and that the deal is considered difficult. Today, the club is not able to afford the costs to sign anyone. He is valued between 30 and 40 million and continuing right on with this situation. Botafogo is holding back on Luiz Henrique so as not to devalue Danilo. A dream signing for Botafogo, Luiz Henrique is considered a difficult acquisition, according to information from Felipe Silva. Also on the same show, okay guys, the thing is Botafogo is being very careful, especially because, just to add, Luiz Henrique is a very expensive player. And the line of signings that Botafogo has made in this transfer window has focused on more cautious signings. They don't invest that much. They look for market opportunities, like we saw with those two goalkeepers. Low fees. A defender who came from Racing Club de Uruguay, Lucas Monzon. So these are players that aren't big investments. Botafogo is handling this with a lot of caution and in a way is putting the brakes on the signing of Luiz Henrique. Because they know there's pressure, some bad blood there with Danilo's staff. But Botafogo doesn't want to undervalue Danilo as he deserves to be valued. So that's an issue. Pump the brakes. Maybe we can put it that way in this situation with Luiz Henrique because he's an expensive player. It could be that tomorrow they bring in some players who spend money and that GDA puts more investment into Botafogo. It could change. But the current situation is that Botafogo isn't looking at it that way. Guys, let's go. Yeah, I've always told you here that it only happens See. This deal only happens if it's a swap of Danilo for Luiz Henrique. All right? Danilo doesn't want to go to Zenit. Now, there's also this situation with the recovery. Zenit's recovery, okay? Man, Botafogo is primarily thinking about court-supervised restructuring. All right? So, there is a possibility, yes. Botafogo is talking to Luiz Henrique. Who knows? Maybe in 6 months, Botafogo will try something. However, the chance of him coming now is slim. I've been saying from the start, it's slim. But that's how it is, right? Right now, our player is Danilo. If Danilo stays, that's great too, man. Danilo focused, wanting to play, it's wonderful. So let's leave this situation on standby. Botafogo is talking to Luiz Henrique, which is the most important thing. Luiz Henrique wants to come back, but Botafogo has other priorities too. Is Luiz Henrique's case closed? No, but let's keep it quiet for a bit, all right? Now let's move on to some wonderful news. Look here. The court denies John Textor's request to block the SAF and authorizes Botafogo Social to join the process as an interested party. The court did not accept John Textor's request for a temporary stay to block SAF's shares and authorized Botafogo Social to join the process as an interested party, in which the American businessman claims to be entitled to receive 150 million reais. This was the decision of Judge Luiz Eduardo Canavaro. The text says he is to receive 150,000 from Eagle for the supposed sale of the shares. Okay? Guys, let me show you here. Yeah. Look at this. Let's go. Here. No, let me make it better for you. Let me do this here. It'll be better this way, so we can read it. Here. We're going to read the contract. We're going to read the Canavaro situation. Here is the judge. The decision, right? Look over there. Let's go. I'll even zoom in for you guys. Here. Judiciary of Rio de Janeiro, type of action, injunction, appellant, John Textor, appellee, order and decision. I grant Botafogo de Futebol e Regatas leave to join the case, according to the request made in Event 21, before any possible decision that may impact the petitioner's legal interests. Make a note of it where applicable. The appellant challenges the decision entered in the case file. Contractual decision with a request for precautionary protection under the following terms. 1. The appellate decision was limited to suspending the ruling declining jurisdiction. It did not address the request for provisional relief that was made, even though it was the objective of the appeal. In any case, the relief sought on a preliminary basis does not meet the requirements of Article 300 of the Civil Procedure Code, because there are no elements that demonstrate likelihood of success on the merits and a risk of harm or of undermining the case's practical outcome. 3. First, because the initial petition is terse on the facts. Attached to the initial petition are documents related to the exchange of correspondence with the reasons presented by each of the parties. Although the plaintiff did not provide translations of those documents written in a foreign language. Check that notification 18, the alleged representative of the defendant, clarifies that the plaintiff made it impossible to access documents, and according to the buyers of SAF, in theory, this may provide grounds for the defense of non-performance. The initial petition omits the defendant's version of the facts, even though it's in the documentation. Guys, let me sum it up for you, okay? Yeah, in practice, the court said that John Textor failed to show urgency or present enough evidence to justify an injunction. That's why the request was denied and the process continues as normal, okay? So what does that mean in practice? The decision doesn't end the case. It just says that for now, Textor didn't get the emergency relief he was seeking. The merits of the case will still be evaluated later, okay? Of course, Textor will keep trying. But at this moment, no. Nothing prevents GDA Luno from joining. Nothing prevents it. Can we get an official announcement in the next few days? Man, it's not up to me. But now the way is wide open. Who knows? Maybe we'll have good news very soon, all right? Another defeat for John Textor in court, another victory for Botafogo in court, and a clear path for GDA Luno to come in, all right?
My friends, I'm inviting you today to our live starting at 6:45 p.m.
You won't miss it, you'll be here. All right, before you leave a like, subscribe, big hug. Greetings, black and white fans, and hey, I'm out. Let's go get them, Fogão. We're in this together, guys. Thanks.